Hey, good morning, everyone. How's it going today? So, what do I have now? I have a '07 Toyota Rav4. It's not the one with the third row seating. Believe it or not, that makes a difference in the suspension. I understand, I guess. Um, Customer's complaint is of a rattling noise in the front. Okay. So I already looked at this, but I figured this might be a good thing for you guys to know about. Um, so I took it for a ride, and I'm like, okay. And then I put it up on a lift, and I checked the suspension and everything else. And I know what the problem is. So let's go for a ride. I want to see if you can hear this through the video. So I'm on my little dead end road here. So let's go down the road and let me see if you can hear it. It's in the right front, but it's something specific, and I want to point it out, and I want to just explain to you why it's making noise. So let's go for a quick ride and see. Hopefully you can hear this. So here I am on my road. Let's go. And I'm going to hang the camera off to the right, so hopefully you can hear this. You can hear it at slow speeds. Do you hear that fluttering? It almost sounds like thunder in the distance. But it's not like a distinctive rattle. It's just like a dull thundering type sound. When you're on a smooth surface, obviously you don't hear it. It's just on a like a washboard type surface, you'll hear it. Now this is not sway bar links, and it's not sway bar bushings. You heard it pretty good there. But as you go over these pine straw debris, pine needles, hear pretty good. Let me go up here so I can pull over. People do use the road, so I just don't want to block it. You hear it pretty good. Okay. So what's going on? All right, so what we have, now I put this thing up in the air. I checked the ball joints. I checked the bushings, stuff like that. Sway bar end links were fine. The boots are a little torn up, but they're not loose. Because a lot of times with the sway bar, you'll get the one side is worn out, and it'll actually create a clunking on the other side, or stuff like that, because it's basically a torsional spring. So one side, if it pushes up, it wants to naturally push up on the other. So the other side, so the sway bar is going to twist because it's a torsional spring. That's how it works. So connecting left side to right side, it helps prevent the vehicle from swaying so much. But that's not the problem. What's the problem? The problem is the strut. So now, how is it the strut? Okay, the strut's actually leaking. Now what happens is, when the strut leaks, how do you picture this? Best way is to picture a syringe. You know how a syringe works. If you've ever used one, if you have air in it, and you press the syringe to push the air out, it goes quickly. Now, if you have a liquid in there, but you have some air in there, as you push it out, as the air comes out, it goes rather quick, and all of a sudden it hits that liquid point for the liquid to come out. Now all of a sudden it slows down because it's harder to push a liquid through the smaller hole. Okay. But how does the shock actually work, or the strut actually work? Strut, shock, they all work the same way. Picture a syringe, except with no outlet. Picture the outlet in the syringe part, like where the plunger is, meaning you have a metered hole, or you have a one-way valve for going one direction and a one-way valve for going in the other direction. Let's just go with a metered hole. Makes life easier if you think of it that way. So if you need to push the syringe and have it go from one end of the tube to the other, obviously if there's air in there, you can do it relatively easy. It'll move quickly. If you have a liquid in there, you have to go with the restriction of the liquid, so it takes time to go through. And that's how a strut works, or a shock. You have to have that restriction, and that's what creates the softness. And there's different valving and everything else, and give you different types of ride qualities and whatnot. But now, picture this. As the strut is leaking, and you're losing that fluid, now all of a sudden you're introducing air, because there's a void. You have to take up the void with something. What are you taking it up with? You're taking it up with air. So now picture that syringe where you have where the one-way valve is, or where the fixed orifice or whatever it is. Now, when it's going to move from one side to the other, if you have an air gap in there, it's going to move quickly through the air and then slam into the fluid. And the fluid is going to act like a damper. So it'll actually, it'll compress slightly, just a little bit, with the air that hits it. You can't compress the liquid, but the air will compress as it hits it. So you're going to wind up with that thumping sensation or thumping sound as the damper hits, or as the syringe part hits the fluid. That's what we have here. So the strut is actually leaking. I'm going to see if they want to do struts. We're going to do I would never do just one. The driver's side is not leaking. The passenger side is. I would never do just one. This thing has 170,000 miles. It's going to get a pair of struts. So let's see. Hopefully they're going to go for a pair of struts, and I'll show you that. I'll show you me changing the struts. All right, so let's get this back to the shop, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so the customer with the Rav4 decided they're not going to fix it at this point. I mean, it's safe, it's fine. It's just, it's got that rattle to it. Yes, the strut is leaking, and yes, it's going to be bouncing around a little bit. But, it's safe to drive. The wheel isn't, bouncing ridiculously. So it's not that it's unsafe, at least not yet. So, and the customer's fully aware of this. I explained it all to them. So they're going to wait till after the new year before they put a set of struts in it. I understand, holidays are coming up, I get it. So that's pretty much going to be it for the video. I want to show you something pretty cool that I got. See that? Wrenching with Kenny. Actually, one of my viewers made this for me and sent it to me. Thank you, Kristen Mulvaney, for this. I do appreciate that. Appreciate it more than you realize. See that? I'm a mechanic. Well, actually, it's backwards for you guys. I'm sorry. Hold on. There you go. I'm a mechanic. I can't fix stupid, but can I fix what stupid does? And there you go, wrenching with Kenny. Pretty cool. I guess you made this. So I do appreciate that. All right, so that's going to end this video. So I do appreciate it, guys. If you're getting something out of my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.